All right, hey guys. I'm gonna be honest. I had a my camera. I'm trying to figure out how to get my camera correct, but it's not working right now. So we're using my MacBook camera. So it's gonna be just a little bit different than you're used to seeing. It's probably less quality, which is okay. And do you guys hear a loud noise at all? Let me adjust my mic. I'm trying to. Let's see. I don't know. Everything sound good. I think my wife decided to turn on the dishwasher right now, so trying to figure out what's going on with everything. Let's see. Got 2 likes, which is good. If you want to leave a comment, that would be great. If not, that's okay as well. Sorry guys for starting so late. Man, this is just learning new systems. It's just so hard. Yeah, cool. We got 2 people watching. There is a buzz. Yeah, thanks, Ray. Give me a second. Yeah, my wife decided to turn on the dishwasher right before I started. I'm trying to see if I can get my correct microphone working. External headphones, cool. All right. Yeah, I guess that sounds better. All right. Does that sound better? Oh, thanks, Gary. All right. Whew. Trying to learn this new system because I didn't want to really pay for StreamYard, so we're trying to this new system, and for some reason I couldn't get my camera to work, so I'm using my MacBook camera. But hey guys, I'm glad you guys are here. We have 2 people here, 2 likes. That's amazing news, and yeah, thanks, Ray. Yeah, like I said, I turned off my dishwasher, and my wife literally left. It's like, why are you turning on the dishwasher? And she's like, the dishes are dirty, so. That's probably unfortunate. All right, today we're going to be talking about dividend ETFs, and if you guys really like this content, make sure to like, subscribe, and if you ever want to send me one of those like a super chat, you can see that super chat. You can send one of those super chats, and I'll read your comments. I am reading your comments. They're on the side. I do have a presentation, so we'll see how this works out. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. You guys can enjoy some football later tonight. It is football Thursday night, which is awesome. I had my team won last Saturday, which was great. I'm a Florida Gator fan. There we go. If you guys are Georgia fans, that's okay. I accept you guys. I won't talk bad about you guys, but if you guys are any other fans, that's okay as well. But I do like my football, and it's football Thursday night. My other team is the Cincinnati Bengals. My dad is from Cincinnati, so I really enjoy them. I just don't like how they always start 0-3 every season, so it's besides the fact. All right. Are we classifying covered call ETFs as dividend ETFs? That's a great question, Gary. If we have time later on this live stream, I do have a little bit of section of some covered call ETFs. But generally speaking, covered call ETFs are basically, they're not really dividends because it's not really a company giving out some dividend yields. And most of these dividend yields from these covered call ETFs are anywhere between 0.5 to about 2%, because those are the dividends coming from those companies. And so when we're thinking about covered calls, they're mostly generate income through covered calls. Basically, they're selling covered calls, so they're getting you this income from premiums. But we do have that at the end of my slideshow, so we will talk about if we can get that far. But we're going to be diving into some good dividend ETFs, and dividend ETFs. I was looking at some of the dividend yields right now, and they're quite poor. I mean, most of them are quite poor, and that's why covered call ETFs are such a rage right now. That's why high savings accounts are such a rage, or even bonds and treasuries, because of the higher yields. Let me see if I can grab on this. All right. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. Cool. I just dived right in. Let's see if that works out. All right. Yeah, so yeah, chomp chomp, yeah, Gary, yeah. We got 6 comments. All right, cool. We have, let's see how many. We got about 3 people watching. All right, so we got Ray, Gary, and someone else. Cool. Yeah, so let's talk about some dividend ETFs because dividend ETFs. I mean, personally, I started looking at dividend stocks when I started getting into the investing game, and I started off with AT&T. And AT&T, they used to have anywhere between 5 to 7% dividend yield, and that was quite interesting for most people. Hey, what's up, guys? But it just didn't grow. So, and at some point, it cut its dividend, but I already sold AT&T. But dividend ETFs give you a bunch of companies all in one place. It makes it a simple place. And so, when we're trying to build sustainable income, we want to have the ability to have maybe a simple approach. As some people don't want to pick and choose different stocks because sometimes stocks do do cut their dividends, and then the price kind of tanks, just like AT&T. AT&T had some debt issues. They cut their dividend. Their stock price went from $30 to $12. It's now sitting around $25 to $27. But when I bought it, which was like 8 or 9 years ago, it was $30. So it really hasn't appreciated that much, and the dividend's still pretty low. But I mean, I got rid of it a long time ago, so I got more into dividend ETFs, which was a simpler approach to having dividends. All right. Yeah, Devo is a good one. Thank you, Gary. We can probably chat about that later on. All right. Let's see what's going on with these right here. So what are dividend ETFs? I mean, they're exchange traded funds, which it's like a mutual fund that's got a bunch of companies on it, and it's traded throughout the day. So some good dividend ETFs that we're probably going to talk about is like SEHD, FDVV, DGRO. We're going to talk about VYM, SPYD. And they're just a great way to provide income and to create like that dividend snowball that a lot of people talk about. Let's see. And so that's why they kind of matter. All right. Yeah, dividends are basically cash payments from companies. And so these are distribution of those earnings. So basically a company has a whole bunch of cash at the end. They don't know what to do with it, so they give it out as a dividend. Warren Buffett really doesn't like that because he thinks that, most companies should go out and use their cash to continue to grow and grow. But you have other things like sometimes companies will go and do share buybacks. That's what Nvidia is doing. They have so much cash, but they're doing share buybacks instead of reinvesting into the company. But Nvidia is also a $4 trillion company, and so they just have buckets of cash. They do a dividend, which is about 1 cent per share. So if you have any Nvidia stocks, you can get about 1 cent per share. Not so much, but it is a dividend-producing stock. Now, other companies may give out special stock dividends. Some companies do actually do this. They're like, oh, we got a lot of cash. Let's just give out some more cash. And then we have different taxes on qualified versus ordinary dividends. Ordinary dividends are kind of like what REITs do. They give out dividends per month, and they're taxed at the ordinary rate. Now, qualified dividends, on the other hand, are taxed at the long-term capital gains rate. So if you are in that income bracket where you have 0%, you could be. If you're in that income bracket where it's 15%, which goes up to about $400,000 per person, you could be in that one. Or if you're in the higher income bracket, that could be 20% on those dividends. Now, if you're someone that lives in maybe Australia or some other country, dividends are treated differently. Like Australia, they don't want to double taxation, so they give you some frank credits, so you don't really get taxed on those dividends. I wish the USA would do that, but they always need that cash because, we got $37 trillion in debt. All right. This slide is pretty terrible. I was trying to rework this slide. For some reason, it's terrible. This one is SEHD, and it's got a expense ratio of about 0.06%, meaning it costs about $6 for every $10,000 invested. And these expense ratios, they range anywhere from 0.01% all the way up to 1%, and 1% is just getting pretty high. Now it's got a yield of about 3.73% or 3.7%. And that's just pretty high, if you ask me. Well, it's pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty good one. But the thing about SEHD is they're trying to be a dividend growth ETF. And so they've been growing their dividend for the last 10 years average at about 10.77%. That seems pretty good. But the problem is, later on in the video, I'm going to show you performances in the last 4 years. The performance has really lacked compared to all the other big-time dividend ETFs, like FDVV, DGR, even VYM, and even SPYD. SPYD is just a good dividend ETF that tracks the dividend producing companies on the S&P 500. But SEHD has had this metric. They want to make sure that the companies are doing some high dividends. They're growing it over the last 10 years. And they have a good percentage of their yield is anywhere between 2 to 4%. But right now, that kind of limits who they put in. So they have 100 different companies, and right now they've gotten rid of some of the big ones, like Broadcom was a big one that they got rid of 3 years ago. So it dropped their performance. And right now, with high interest rates, you can get more money putting your money into like a treasury bill and not really having that risk and return of the equities. And so that's why SEHD is kind of fallen off. Now, it's got a great yield, but I mean, the year-to-date return is about a little bit over 3%. But I mean, you can get a better safety net with a treasury, and so that's something to think about. SPYD, which is another dividend ETF we're going to talk about today, is it's got a price return of about 5.88% this year, and that's beating SEHD. And yeah, like Gary said, I mean, he sold off all of his shares of SEHD because it's just not really appreciating as it could be. You could buy something much better with a better yield, with a better return on it than SEHD. And the problem is, I mean, if you were to look at if 1 year was bad, that's okay. But not only 1 year was bad, but we have 4 years consecutively that haven't done well compared to other ETFs. And so that's when you have to take a look. Is the yield worth it? Now, people are going to say with the rate cut possibly coming, that SEHD could soar. That's a possibility because maybe more money is going to go into these companies and people are going to find more stability within these higher paying companies. And so SEHD has the possibility of rising. But so does all these other ETFs on the market. So we're going to go through some of these other ETFs and maybe my screen wasn't showing that. Let's see. I wonder why that's not showing. Let's see. Let's see. Can you guys see? Does it still say introduction or does it say SEHD on here? Oh yeah, CGDV is pretty good. All right, let me see. Just trying to. Oh man. All right, let me see. Let me come back up here. Let me come back here. Oh, here we go. I did skip DGRO. I did skip but here's FDVV. Now FDVV is one of the bigger dividend ETFs right now in the market. I mean, it's from Fidelity. It's got a higher expense ratio than most of these ETFs. Yeah, thanks, Gary. I don't know what was going on in my program, so I skipped all the FDVV. The SEHD slide looked terrible. But FDVV is the Fidelity High Dividend ETF. So FDVV focuses on those high dividend paying companies, but it's got a barbell strategy. So what that means is it's got some like high tech, and it's got some tech, financials, it's got healthcare, but it's got the two. It's like barbell. It's got like blue chips plus tech. And so what you get is this barbell strategy. And it looks at companies that are paying high dividends for the last 12 months. Instead of 10 years added, it's 12 months. So we're going to get Microsoft, we're going to get NVIDIA, we're going to get Apple a part of FDVV. Now the expense ratio is 0.16%, which means it costs about $16 for every $10,000 invested. But that's okay. I mean, you're getting a 3.02% return. In the last 5 years, it's returned about 17% annually for the last 5 years. Now, since its inception, it's done around 13%, but since the last 5 years, it's done 17%. That's huge. On the other hand, SEHD is doing, I think, 6 to 10% for the last 5 years, while FDVV is doing 17%. That's a huge, big difference. I mean, and FDVV's got about, I think it's got about 100 to 180 different companies. But the top 10, I mean, you've got NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, then you got JP Morgan, you've got Broadcom, you got some great Procter & Gamble and Walmart also a part of this ETF. So you're getting some great ones a part of this ETF. Now, let's see if I can change this over. Let's see if that changes. All right. Here's HDV. Now, HDV, it's got a expense ratio of 0.08%. Yield is pretty good, 3.4%. But the top 10 holdings is 60% allocation. Now, it focuses on quality. It focuses on high dividends. And it's another good one that you can buy and hold for long term. Now, the performance is not going to be like FDVV, but it's going to be better than SEHD. For some reason, SEHD is just doing terrible. Let's see. SPYD. Now, SPYD right now, the yield says 4.41%. I checked the yield this morning. It's actually 4.43%. The market has gone up today, which is good news. It's always good news when the market goes up. I mean, my portfolio went up 0.82%. QQQ was up 0.92%. So my portfolio is doing pretty good. But yeah, SPYD. SPYD tracks the dividend paying companies on the S&P 500. Oh, thank you, Gary. Your stats are pretty good. Yeah, I've got an image of the breakdowns soon enough of all the performances just to show you guys, just to make it clear. And I also got a chart of the expense ratios and the yields as well, just to show you guys as well. But SPYD, I mean, it's an S&P 500 ETFs by Spider. The expense ratio still low, the yield very high. And the good thing about this one, it's got a better yield than SEHD. I'm comparing to SEHD because everybody talks about SEHD and they think it's the gold standard. Well, it's a great ETF maybe 5 years ago, but right now all these other ones are doing much better. Now, SPYD is a more conservative play, but it's still appreciating because it's part of the S&P 500. And it's got a great yield of 4.41%, 4.43%, and it's continuing to grow that dividend. So if you're looking for some good dividends, if you're looking for those monthly dividends with a high yield and a little bit more growth than SEHD, SPYD is a great one to buy and hold. And as you can see with if you can see this, I mean, it's got some REITs, that's okay. It's got some utilities, it's got financials, and so it's a little bit different than a lot of these. It's got about 80 different stocks, and most of them are equal weighted. It's very heavy in REITs and utilities, and we know that utilities is very stable right now. We know that, and it's also got some good financials. JP Morgan is one of the best financials out there, and it's got a great dividend. So that's something to think about. And it's got a good mix of REITs, which brings in a little bit more income. We're going to talk about REITs a little bit later in the show if we can get to it and see how long we can continue to go. Okay. Cool. We got 8 people watching. All right, you guys are doing awesome. I'm glad you are here. And if you like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and continue to watch. All right. Let's see what our next slide looks like. VYM. Oh, man. I've been looking at VYM recently, and it is doing pretty good. I mean, it's got a 2.53% yield, which is pretty good. The expense ratio is not so bad. It's cheap. It's got about 580 different companies. And with VYM, you're talking about a high dividend yield ETF. I don't know why it says high because it's 2.53%. But in the last 3 to 4 years, the performance has been killing it. And earlier this year, earlier this week, I was making a video of it, and VYM was crushing the S&P 500 for this year alone. It was sitting at a 10% return year to date, while the S&P 500 was like 9.5. Now, like I said, the market's up today, so these numbers do change throughout the week. But at this point, VYM was doing much better than the S&P 500, and if you compare this to like an SCHD, VYM was doing much better. Now, VYM is quite solid. I mean, it does anywhere between 9 to 10% yearly with a solid yield. It's got about 580 different companies. It's broad. It's Vanguard, and so. And it's also been around for a very long time. So this is one of those like OGs of the dividend ETFs. Let's see. Here's the dividend income ETF guide. See if we have any good. Yeah, Gary, you're right. It's like a nostalgia ETF. All right, we have some other ones. VIG. It's a dividend growth focus, but it's got a low yield. I don't even know why it's even called a dividend one, because yield's like a 1.76. VTI alone, it's got like 1.3. Then you got DVY and SDY. You got higher expense ratios, some pretty good yields. But here's a good comparison chart of the expense ratio and the yield. And after this, we're going to have performance. So take a look at these. So SEHD, pretty low expense ratio. DGRO is 0.08%. FDVV is the highest. Well, I also got Noble on here. I don't know where my Noble slides went, but they're somewhere. Then we got HDV. But these are all relatively cheap ETFs. Anywhere between, we're talking about anywhere between $25 to about $130. I think VYM sitting at like $140, while FDVV is sitting at like $50. SPYD is sitting at about $45. And HDV sitting at maybe $80, DGRO sitting at about $70-ish. But then you got the yields. We got 3.73, 2.36, 3.02, 3.4, 4.41. You can get better yields with treasuries. But if you can get better yields with treasuries, you would go with treasuries. But that's why we look at price performance over the long term. We want to see these grow. We want to see these ETFs not just have a yield where the money is just sitting stagnant. That's what you can do with a high yield savings account. You can just get 3.8% SoFi, and you can just let it sit there. And that's what you're doing with SCHD. SCHD probably it's got 3.73% yield, but the price performance is sitting at around 0. It's not doing anything this year, but you can do it better with maybe a treasury. So why are people obsessing about this ETF? Well, it's because it's had a good track record for between 2012 and 2022, but right now it's not doing so well. And that's why we're going. Here is some things over the last year. We can see that SEHD in 1 year, it's doing 3.23%. FDVV in 1 year, 15.39%. VYM, 13.90%. DGRO, 11.44%. SPYD is 4.18%. Now, SPYD is doing slightly better, but as we're going to see this in a second, because I've got more and more charts that we're going to show, and to show you guys, this is just not doing as well. All right, and here we go. This is 3 years. Now, SEHD and SPYD are on track with the same. They're 29. But FDVV, 65%. VYM, 48%. DGRO, about 48%. So those are, VYM and DGRO probably have the same yield. And DGRO is considered a dividend growth ETF. But FDVV, it's got a 3% yield. It's got a higher yield and a higher price performance. Let's go 5 years. Wow. 5 years is crazy. SEHD is still lagging behind. SPYD is at 94. VYM is at 93, 94. DGRO is about 84. FDVV is at 124. You can see if you invested $10,000 5 years ago, that amount of money would have grown and grown and grown, and SEHD is way down below. Now, I'm going to show you guys some other charts, and we'll see. This next chart right here is just showing some of the CAGRs. And this is 9 years, about 9 years. And don't let these numbers fool you, because these numbers look great, but my next chart is going to show you kind of those average those returns year by year. So we see SEHD is 11.53%. Now, I'm not killing you guys on SHBCD, because it's a great one, but a lot of people obsess over it, and I just don't want you guys to be to think it's the best of the best. There are some other great ETFs on here. All right, and let's get to it. So SEHD over the last 9 years has averaged 11.53%. FDVV 13%, DGRO about 13%, VYM 11%, and SPYD 8%. I couldn't get any more onto this list. That's why I have these 5. But if we look at these annual returns, I'm using a thing called Testfolio. It allows me to do 15, 20 years, and I try to use these sometimes in my videos. And this is because I can go back and I can see the summary. And so this is a great software if you ever want to look at it. It's free to use. So I can probably put it in the chat. Give me a second. Let me put it quickly in the chat to show you guys. Yes, Gary, I have slightly looked at CGDV, but I haven't. I should do. I mean, a lot of people have talked about this. But yeah, that's a good point, Gary. We'll swing back to that one, take a look at it. All right. But look at 2016, everybody is quite even. That means everybody's got probably the same exact holdings. 2017, SCHD is doing great. It's them and DGRO are on top of the market. They're crushing it. 2018, we had the little blip in December, and VYM, SPYD, and SCHD got hit because probably the companies that are more stable got hit a little bit more. But then 2019, it crushed it. DGRO crushed it. VYM crushed it. Everybody kind of crushed it in 2019. 2020, we had the COVID dip. So you had SCHD. Dude's pretty solid. FDVV, not so good. VYM, not so good. SPYD, ugh, bad. But DGRO, SCHD, 2021. SCHD almost hit 30%. FDVV almost hit 30%. And we can see these. These up to 2022 is when these started to change. And we can see this. SCHD was still solid in 2022. That's why I kind of liked it. DGRO kind of down. VYM still solid. SPYD still solid. But then 2023 is when things just kind of went bad for SCHD. And things started going up for other ones. So SCHD got rid of Broadcom. So they got 4.5%. FDVV, 18%. DGRO, 10%. VYM up. SPYD. Then 2024 happened. This is just when the market's going crazy with the AIs. And so you got, and then the interest rates also going up. So people are moving their money from kind of safety and putting it into treasuries, putting it into high yield savings account. And we can see that SCHG just didn't kind of adjust with the times. 11.67%, while FDVV is doing 21%, DGR is doing 16%, VYM's up almost 18%, SPYD is up 15%. Then in 2025, this chart shows it's got 2.94% total return. FDVV, 11.59%, DGR, and as you can see, VYM, DGR, FDVV are doing great. That's because the market's doing great. You have different companies bringing up the market. And it's just, you got to pick and choose. You got to figure out what your strategy is. When we're looking at dividends, we're looking at strategy. Let's see if I can change my camera mode so we can get some. Here we go. Oh, cool. Yeah, we're looking at different strategies. Are you focused on income? Are you focused on growth? Are you focused on both? And that's what we got to look at when we're looking at dividend ETFs. We also got to look at the long term because, like most people say, is past performance does not guarantee your future performance. SCHD is a great thing. Between 2012 and 2022, it was outperforming VOO. Now, when we get to the last 3 to 4 years, it's not tracking as well. So we have to look at what the methodologies are. We got to look at our own strategies. Are we a dividend-focused person? Are we looking for that snowball? Are we looking for a little bit of growth? Are we looking for a little bit of both? If we're just income-focused, a good ETF could be a cover call ETF because it's got a lot of income. Are we looking at possibility of that snowballing going on? FDVP's got a little bit of tech. It's got a little bit of blue chips. Are we looking at maybe having a little bit of REITs and real estate? That could be a dividend ETF. I've got a couple more dividends here. Let's see. Like I talked about REITs. Now, REITs is a different type of ETF because, first of all, it brings in a whole bunch of different real estate ETFs, real estate companies into this ETF, and they produce income, and they pay you monthly. Yeah, which is good. People like monthly. Now, they distribute about 90% of basically their profits to their shareholders, which is great. And so you have a position, you have a possibility of having real estate, income, and dividends. But the problem with REITs, if you have it in a taxable account, those dividend distributions are going to be taxed at an ordinary rate. They're not qualified dividends. So if you have it in a Roth IRA, then they're fine. The benefits are you're going to get anywhere between that 3 to 8% liquidity. You're going to get that yield. And a good REIT could be O. But if you don't want to pick different types of REITs, there's obviously some great ETFs. This slide's terrible. All these slides just went crazy. All right. Sorry about that, guys. So good REITs could be VNQ, which is the Vanguard REIT ETF, and that holds a whole bunch of different REIT companies a part of this ETF. But that's a little bit about REITs. And then one of Gary's and some other people's favorite thing is cover call ETFs. Let me see if I can show cover call ETFs here. I wonder why these slides look so weird. Now these are different cover call ETFs. These are kind of the OGs, which is they're a little bit old. JEPI and JEPQ. Now these are JP Morgan's ETFs. JEPI tracks the S&P 500. JEPQ tracks the Nasdaq 100 and gives you more tech ETFs. Now these ETFs use ELNs, which is a way they can use their cover calls, and they're taxed as ordinary dividends. Now you have these next gen cover call ETFs like QQQI, SPYI. They track the same indexes, but they have higher yields, slightly more expensive expense ratios, and they have different tax treatments. Like QQQI and SPYI use 1256 options. So what they do is they're selling those, giving you possibility of 60% long-term capital gains and 40% short-term capital gains. But now they're also using return on capital. QQQI is returning anywhere between 90 to 100% of return on capital. So basically, if you give QQQI $100, they're returning you 90%. That's about $9 back. Your cost basis is going to go from $100 down to $91. So your cost basis will continue to go down, but it's also taxed much better, so you can put this in a taxable account. And let's see if I have any more. Oh, I also have Goldman Sachs cover call ETFs, GPIQ and GPIX. They track the same index size. GPIQ does the S&P 100. GPIX does the S&P 500. The reason I like these two ETFs is because they're selling cover calls on anywhere between 25 to 75%, but it's actually more like 25 to 50%. So they're allowing the other half of their portfolio to have some of that upside. Now they're selling cover calls on at the money cover calls. So basically, if like Apple is selling at $200, they're going to sell a cover call option at $200. So they're getting the maximum amount of premium on that cover call, and so that will be distributed to you as a dividend. It's not really it's not like a cash from the company, but it's distributed as a dividend, kind of like REITs are. And I like these because it's got the high premium plus the upside. Right now, GPIQ is up anywhere between 2 to 3%, while QQQI is up about maybe 1.5%. So GPIQ is doing much better because it is creating those dividends, and it's also not have their upside cap. So in the sideways market, QQQI is probably a better bet. In a bull market, GPIQ is probably better because it's getting some of that upside as well. All right. Now, I didn't cover CGDV, but I've heard about it. I probably should do some research and bring out some more information for you guys. Yeah, Gary, you are 100% correct. Neos is a great company. They've been around for about 3 to 4 years. And I think when they started off, people weren't so sure because it's a brand new company. It's not it's not like established company like JP Morgan's been around for like 100 plus years. Goldman Sachs has been around for a long time, so you believe in those established companies. Neos ETFs came out on the market, and then everybody's like, oh, why don't we copy this idea? And so with QQQI, SPYI, IWMI, BTICI, there are so many different those cover call ETFs that Neos creates. They're just so good for you. Now their expense ratios, I wish, were a lot cheaper, but they do give you a great yield. We just saw SPYI is doing 12% and is covering the S&P 500. QQQI is doing about 13.5 to 14.5%, and it's covering the NASDAQ 100. So if you like tech, QQQI is a great one. Or GPIQ is another great one. If you like the S&P 500 with some more conservative instability, you have GPIX and you have SPYI. Those are two great ETFs that give you high dividends or high yield, and it's giving you a little bit upside, but it's got that income strategy. So if you're retiring, if you're someone that's looking to have some more money, obviously these ETFs are great. All right, so I just talked a lot about ETFs. I talked about 37 minutes. That's a pretty long time, and I hope you guys could bear with me. Do you guys have any questions? Leave in the chats. I didn't see any super chats or anything, but a lot of comments from Gary, which is great. Ray, do you have any questions? Marin, do you have any questions? Anyone else watching? Do you guys enjoy this kind of content? And you're right. SEHD should be doing this, should have more upside and some good yield. And I think that's what the point of SEHD was supposed to be, but that's about... Yeah, exactly right. You are exactly right. Neos is great. I've seen a lot of great YouTubers. I say great. So a lot of great YouTubers right now are getting some interviews with these Neos guy. I think it would be great if I could do the same thing. If I can get my camera to go correctly, and I can figure out this live stream perfectly, I'm going to try to get an interview with him. Then you guys can ask some questions, and that would be great. Yeah, I hope I helped you guys out. I know this seems short because, honestly, there are so many great dividend ETFs out there. I could probably talk for an hour, and possibly it's Thursday night. You guys maybe want to watch some football. What is the future of dividend ETFs? Gary, that is an excellent question. If you were to ask me, and because you are asking me, I would say, these cover call ETFs kind of take what dividend ETFs are meant to do. Because dividend ETFs are like, all right, you're getting that dividend snowball. You're giving that dividend that's supposed to buy some more shares and then be able to give you some income 4 times a year throughout the year, and it's supposed to last you for the last while. So if you have $1 million and you got 4% from dividends, that's about $40,000. And the average median wage for Americans is about $60,000. So that $40,000 is probably not going to be it. So you probably need more like a $1.5 million, which is about $50,000, $50 to $60,000 right there. And at that point, you're thinking, maybe I should have had something better. But if you had a $500,000 portfolio with like QQQI or GPIQ. Let's say GPIQ because it's got 10%, and that's a little bit easier for my brain. I could use my phone to do some math. But obviously, you guys can take that number and make it 15%. But if you had a 500,000 portfolio, all in GPIQ, you're going to have price appreciation. And with 10% getting in monthly, broken up throughout the year, that's $50,000 every single year. And obviously, with price appreciation, things are going to rise and rise. And so it's got anywhere between 3 to 4% price appreciation. The NAV is not decaying. So that's good news. But well, I think Gary, that's what I'm trying to think. Like, I would say, I mean, they're becoming obsolete. And I think it's because these covered call ETFs are making things easier. They're creating income. I'm laughing at your comment, Ray. I mean, I'm trying to learn options, and options aren't the easiest. But if you have someone doing it for you, and they're giving you some good income, they're giving you a good dividend, and some price appreciation, man, it's great. I mean, if you guys are let's say you guys are 50, 60 years old. Some of you guys are probably a little bit older. Some of you guys are a little bit younger. But if you are thinking about retiring soon, or maybe people are like, oh, you're 50 years old, you've become redundant. All of a sudden you're thinking, wow, how am I supposed to retire if I don't have enough income? These dividend ETFs aren't really doing it because I need anywhere between $1 to $1.5 million to kind of supplement that. And if you have maybe a $500,000 portfolio that's all in, that's split up between QQQI, SPYI, maybe GPIQ, and maybe something else, and maybe an OG dividend ETF, you have the possibility of having different income flows from those different ETFs. With QQQI, you're getting 15% off. Let's say you did 30. You're doing 200,000 off that QQQI, that 500,000. Times by 0.15%. You're getting about $30,000 from QQQI. You're doing about 200,000 times GPIX, which is another 20,000. That's $50,000 right there. And then 100,000 in OG. I mean, you're making about $60,000 off of a 500,000 portfolio. Now that's huge. That's huge. You don't need $1 million to $1.5 million to retire. All of a sudden, you have $50,000 in that portfolio. Wow, $86,000. Wow, that's a pretty good amount, Gary. I like it. Yeah. So, what do you guys think about that? I mean, I personally haven't I haven't put money into any dividend ETFs in probably maybe three or 4 years. I've been throwing my money into like VGT, QQQM, a little bit VTI, but this year I haven't been putting much into VTI, and also some SMH. But right now, like QQQI, GPIQ, they look great. They look like if I needed to quit my job today, all of a sudden I've got some income coming in from one of my income sources. Now, Ray, are you saying wow to me or wow to Gary? You're probably saying wow to Gary because $12,000 income, that's $1,000 a month. Yeah, that's like, that's if you have a paid off mortgage, I could buy groceries. If you can double that to $2,000, all of a sudden you can take, you definitely buy groceries because groceries are expensive. Yeah, any other questions, guys? Did I help I've been doing a lot of videos on covered call ETFs, and I keep researching. I've got a video I just did yesterday on GPIQ that I'm in the process of editing, and man, it's very convincing to me. Like, I have done the research, made a video, and I'm like, oh, I'm convinced these covered call ETFs are very good, and they create an income and kind of replace those OG dividends. The only issues are is if you have like a JEPQ or JEPI, the dividends are taxed at ordinary. But with GPIQ, GPIX, QQQI, SPYI, IWMY, these are taxed at a better rate. So then you're not getting killed by the IRS. Oh. Hey, that'd be enough for me too. My wife would probably not be as mad. She's sometimes like, Steve, when are you gonna start making more money from this YouTube? Let me know, Ray. Do you have dividend ETFs, or are you all in growth ETFs? See how long I've been talking. I've been talking about 45 minutes. I still have about 4 people watching. That's awesome. Continue to like, subscribe, and throw in your questions. I'm going to try to have my camera is sitting right up here. I don't know why I couldn't figure out how to turn it on today. Technology. Getting close to 40, and my hair's getting gray. Yeah, thank you, Gary. You're doing a great job. Ray, I'm glad you're here. Marin, I'm glad you were here. Now we're down to 3 people watching. But yeah, make sure to like, subscribe. And next week, do you guys have any topic ideas? Yeah, I'm 38. I'll turn 39 at the end of the year, and I'm focused on growth. VGT, QQQ, QQM, SMH. Because I started investing in SMH a year and a half ago, and I was like, oh, I love semiconductors. And I did a video about it. It's amazing. SMH is an amazing ETF altogether because it's got great companies. So you have ASML. ASML is a Dutch company that creates machines that create chips. So SML, they produce 80% of the machines that make chips on the market. So they sell them to all the chip companies like Micron, TSN, Samsung, Foxconn. So then you have TSM makes basically all the chips on the market. Well, 80-90%. They make the chips for NVIDIA and AMD, and then you have NVIDIA makes 90% of the chips that make AI. So you have all these all in SMH. So SMH has got like all these little mini monopolies a part of it. And so SMH has been around since 2011, and they've averaged 25% like per year, which is a crazy amount. I haven't looked at SMHX. Is that a cover call ETF? Investment strategies for the next year. Yeah, let's do that one, Gary. I will put that down. That's a great idea, Gary. Let's do investment strategies for the next year for 2026, and I'll have a list of different ideas, different ways we can look at things, different scenarios compared to if interest rates are cut. What happens if these tariffs stay illegal according to the courts? Possibilities of what's going to happen with the political landscape, because you never know what the political landscape could happen. So we can throw those all into our investment strategies and what we're thinking about what's going to happen to next year. It's the sister to SMH. Yeah, thank you. I'll take a look at that. Yeah, I did a deep dive into SMH to create my video, and I hope the video would come out tomorrow, but my editors haven't given me the video file back, so it could come out Monday. But yeah, SMH was crazy. I even did a deep dive into NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a company that since 2010 has averaged about 50% return. So if you were to invest $1,000 in 2010, your return would be around $8 million today, which is pretty crazy news. But yeah, SMH just got NVIDIA making about 17% of its portfolio. All right, we got 2 people left, and I'm glad you guys watched it. Next week, Gary has suggested we do investment strategies for the next year. We're going to do that. I am going to kind of play around this software a little bit more and try to figure out how to do a better job with this and try to bring in some guests. Probably not next week, maybe the week after. this would be cool to have a guest with me and talking, and then you guys can ask each other, like me and that guest, like some questions. I do have a very good friend in Switzerland who's an ex-banker. He retired at the age of 40. He's always great with a lot of these investment tools. Maybe I'll get him on the phone and see if he'll like to join us for this. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the chat. If you like the chat, make sure to like, subscribe. If you want to throw in a super chat or anything, let me know. Thank you, Ray. See, I remember your names. It may say Missouri, but I remember your names. I've got friends at church that say, Steve, you are so good with names and faces. And thank you. If I can ever get my following big enough, it would be great to kind of fly to different cities in the States and have some meetups. Gary, I know you're in Florida. I visit Florida, at least I try once a year. Yeah, thank you guys for allowing me to show my presentation. I did try to break it down and make it like very, very good for you guys. Yeah, you guys have a great week. Watch some football if you guys enjoy football. If not, watch some soccer or whatever else sports are going on. All right, I guess I'll catch you guys next week. Same time, same place. You enjoy. Watch out for my videos. I try to put out 2 to 3 a week. If you are, I'll try to put out one tomorrow. So check it out, and I'll see you guys next week. You guys take care. I'll enjoy my coffee. You guys enjoy too, and I'll see you next week. And finish. Yes, Texas.